What's up, bud?
Hey, everybody. Hey, what's going on? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Hooked on Sonics podcast, where two idiots drink beer, or other vibations, and talk music.
Cheers.
Tony, cheers.
What are you having this evening, buddy?
I am having, courtesy of Yellowstone, Coors, the banquet beer.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
And you?
Oh, I am actually having, so often when I drink bourbon, and then I'm a big bourbon guy, I mix it with lemonade. It's my favorite
Mhm.
thing. Like, it's crazy. I know it may not be right for some people, but for me, I love the taste of bourbon and lemonade. I really do. And I'm actually having JTS Brown bottled in bond. Bottle was given to me by my boss a few weeks back, and I just cracked it open tonight for this show. Kind of take it a taste. Did some smoking on the smoker and stuff today. Did some ribs and some
Very
pork
cool.
butts, and then we did. I polished off what was left on a bottle of Jim Beam bottled in bond and a bottle of Benchmark bonded. I really am liking the bonded bourbons at this point in time. But enough about libations. Let's get
Well,
on
I
to
was going to
the
ask you real quick, of those three, which do you like the best and why?
of the three bonded that I've drank
Bourbon.
today.
Yep.
Dude, I'm man, I've got to level with you, man. That's a tough call because I did taste this. I drink everything straight before I mix. And a lot of times I can drink stuff straight. If I had to pick one of the three, it'd be very hard to do, but I'd have to go with the Jim Beam bonded because it's the perfect example. It's the perfect Jim Beam. There's
Mhm.
just no way around it. It's just the perfect, like, Jim Beam gets a bad rap in the bourbon thing, in the bourbon community, but the Jim Beam bonded is the perfect example of Jim Beam in my opinion. Now, that's going to run you probably about $20-$25 a bottle. But that benchmark bondage is probably going to run you about $15 to $20 a bottle tops. And
Gotcha.
out of Buffalo Trace, it's a low offering from Buffalo Trace. They've got a whole lineup of benchmark that Ohio is actually getting ready to get. I've been hunting for them because I've had the regular benchmark bonded, just finished that. I've got a benchmark foolproof that my boss got me downstairs, but I want to get the top shelf and I want to get the single barrel. And I like the benchmark stuff. I'm a big fan of the Buffalo Trace fan. It's hard not to be a fan of the Buffalo Trace stuff, dude. I mean, you
Oh,
got Blanton's,
absolutely.
Eagle Rare, dude. There's so, like, you've got the Sazerac that I gave you. I'm not big on ryes, but I haven't had that one yet. I'm hoping
Yeah.
it's the rye that I do enjoy.
I'll let you know one of these days when I crack it open.
Yeah. Anyways,
So,
what have you been listening to this week?
well, actually, I just posted it on our Facebook page. I ran into the some weird uh, band called the Flying Orchestra or something like that. I posted on our Facebook page. It is a weird blend of funk, jazz, and rock, and it is fantastic. So I
That's
encourage anyone to
great.
just take a look at that, and it's pretty trippy. It's pretty trippy. It got me through on a good ride into work.
I'll tell you
What about
bands
you?
that bands that mesh stuff together like that I really like. And I'm actually pretty, like, I've got his email address, and he's one of the greatest frontmen in my opinion. And their musical side projects are all great. But Dog Fashion Disco singer Todd Smith, he
Yeah.
also does the Polka Dot Cadaver stuff, and he does the his solo stuff under El Creepo. He did some stuff with dude. That dude's he's got his hands in so many different little things, and it's all good stuff. The guy's a hell of a vocalist, a hell of a writer. But I got to hang out with those guys and close down a couple bars with them a few times, so we're pretty good when we see each other. But if you like that stuff where music changes or there's a lot of fusion and stuff that goes on there, Dog Fashion Disco, Polka Dot Cadaver really do a really good job of really making those things happen. But I will tell you, since we're on this topic, I was hanging out with my guys. We were just kind of just noodling around and just jamming and shit. And we were listening to a Church of Misery track. I want to say it was off of one of the early albums. There was a freaking jazz breakdown in the middle of this Doom tune, dude. And it was just like,
Nice.
it's like, whoa, whoa. And
Yeah.
everybody caught it. It was like, did you guys catch it? Oh, yeah. Like, and everybody knew it was off on a jazz scale. And it was just like, dude, I've showed you some of the Church of Misery stuff. Underrated band, dude. Why these guys are not bigger is beyond me. Because, yeah, are they Doom? Yeah, but there's a lot of skill and talent in that band, you know. And I think it's great that they're just guys from, you know, what is it, Tokyo, Japan, man. You know, they're
Okay.
yeah, they're and it's cool that their singer and stuff sings in English, but yeah, dude, Church of Misery is like you know I love Sleep real bad right now, but Church of
Oh
Misery is
yeah.
just like these dudes
Like
are
a dog on a bone, baby.
rocking, dude. But yeah, that's
Excellent.
been listening to a lot of that. Been checking out a band called Yob, which is another Doom band, but it's very it almost like seems progressive Dooms, prog style. Very different stuff going on in it, but I'm digging it. I'm digging it for sure. But that's about
Cool.
all I've been listening to this week.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Have you caught any music news? I know in the last couple weeks, the biggest news that I seen was John Five taking over for Mick Mars for Motley Crue.
I think it's a cakewalk for him.
Oh, for sure.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's an absolute cakewalk for him. I've seen John with Rob Zombie a couple times, and he is absolutely a phenomenal guitarist. And I always, you know, being that I love guitars and stuff myself, and I know you do too, I think it's absolutely amazing being a metal guy and just a great guitar player in general. And he's up there doing it with a Telecaster, dude, a
Yeah.
freaking Telecaster. Yeah, I mean, like that's a statement in itself. You know, you usually see some
Yeah. Now,
Super Strat up there or some Les Paul or something. Man, this guy's up there playing more human than human on a freaking Telecaster, dude.
yeah, he's literally played a Hello Kitty acoustic guitar, so you know he can play anything.
Did you see where Portnoy played the Hello Kitty drum
Yes,
set?
that was
Yeah,
fantastic.
that was pretty good too.
That was fantastic. But so, what do you think? You know, where do you think it's okay for some bands to get away with that and some not? Like, you know, I don't think anyone really has a problem with John Five taking over for Mick because of the circumstances. But like, can you see a situation where, you know, it wouldn't be as okay? Like if they just said, all right, Mick, you're out. And then they put John Five. Does that matter? Like, you know, just for personal reasons, or God forbid they get rid of Vince Neil, bring back John Corabi. Hot take right there.
So let's discuss that because at the end of the day, Motley Crue has become, and this is not to be disrespectful or anything, my musical tastes are just not where they were when I was a teenager. You know,
Yep.
and I still love listening to a lot of Motley Crue, Poison, a lot of that hair stuff. I was a big fan of that stuff back in the day. But it seems like a lot of drama comes off of those bands. There's the breakups. I mean, let's talk drama. Let's go there. You and I both know the biggest payday Skid Row is ever going to get is if they brought Sebastian back. But there's
Yep.
just drama there. Okay.
Yeah, and they'll never do it.
And they'll never do it. Rachel Bolan and you know, Dave Snake Saber,
And
they're
say,
just
yeah,
not going to fucking have it, dude. They're not going to fucking have
nope.
it. So, you know,
And honestly, Sebastian can still get it. He was just on the last Kiss cruise, and he was getting
yeah,
it.
he still sounds decent, man. But like, I'm going to be real honest with you. Like, I'm with you because I was a huge fan, absolutely huge fan, and this is no bones about it, of the Motley Crue album with John Corabi. It was the best writing that Motley Crue had ever done. I don't care. I don't care about any album before it. I don't care about any album after it. It was just the best musically. Knowing what I know about music,
Yeah.
it was the best musical album I've ever heard. And it really bummed me out that people really just couldn't do without Vince. But at the end of the day, they would rather see Vince go out there. And I'll be honest with you, I've seen Motley Crue 4 times.
Yeah.
2 times the band was on. All 4 times Vince was off.
That's true.
Listen,
That's true.
I'm not lying, dude. When you're singing Shout
The
at the
proof's on
Devil,
the tape.
dude, when you're singing Shout at the Devil and you're going, he's Wall Street, lonely, bloodstained, day, ain't,
Yeah.
dude, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
dude, it's like, dude, like,
Trash.
I don't care. And I'll be honest with you. I don't care, Vince, if you got up there and you stood still right there at the fucking microphone, not running around like a fucking madman, and you just sat there and you nailed your parts the best you could. Because then I'm going to hear those songs the way I want to hear those songs. I'm not going to hear what sounds like a fucking choppy ass fucking drive-through McDonald's window.
Yep.
Now, you know what I'm talking about.
No, absolutely. So, of the 3 choices, which would you rather have? Would you rather have authentic live like that, and you just crapshoot? You get Vince Neil sometimes, and that's what it is. B, backing tracks where it's fake.
Nope.
Or
nope.
Just retire and just be glad that you've seen him when you've seen him and be done. Because that's where I'm at. I would rather just say, okay,
well, what about
cut it anymore?
Let me throw a 4th in the mix.
4 Horsemen?
Nope. Let me throw a 4th in the mix. What about a band you never got to see live, but members have passed,
mm-hmm.
and then they're calling it a reunion tour or a reunion show, but the 2 members that passed are pretty much the life force of what that product was.
At that point, it's a tribute. It's a tribute.
Listen, I agree too. But do you go see them because of the nostalgia, or do you say it's not them, it's not right, fuck it, I'm not going? Although you've never seen them ever.
Yeah.
What do you do? What did you do, okay.
Bruce? What's the ticket price? If it's reasonable, okay. If it's Bruce Springsteen,
reasonable?
Listen. Well, for me, you know me. I'm low dough Jones. I don't,
I'll pay it.
Have you seen where Springsteen, he's charging like $5,000 for a normal ticket? He's like, hey, I just got to compete. Get out of here.
What about Taylor Swift? Let's get on that conversation because that's national
you know what?
News.
Tell me about that.
This
still ties into the music
news, dude. My niece is a huge Taylor Swift fan. Chloe is a huge Taylor Swift fan. She went and she had Kate enroll in shit online. She enrolled in shit online. And at the end of the day, they got emails back that they didn't get preferred. And now there's fucking all kind of drama over the tickets. And it's like, guys, there's a way to resolve this. There is. Okay. Let her do the tour. Let her go get rest. And if the album's that good, let her tour another round on it. Guys have done it for years. Years. They've toured on an album for years. Tell me they haven't, dude. Come on now.
Listen, unfortunately, and this will be a different topic for sure. We can do a whole episode on the state of the music industry right now and record sales.
Dude,
where guys don't put out records anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. So you've really got a week or 2 weeks and that's it. Like, you know, you peak, and that's kind of crazy right now. And, you know, it's definitely not a good thing, but, you know,
I'll tell you what drives me
you
nuts. Bands that
know,
are putting out only albums and not doing any digital or CD release.
that's interesting.
So
Who's doing that you know of?
the Church of Misery albums, Volume 1 and the Early Works compilation were only available on album. There is no digital release. And I don't know that there was a CD release. There may have been a CD release, but it's very limited.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's anytime I wanted to listen to that, I have to listen to it through YouTube. Good stuff
Yeah.
though. Really, really
Okay.
good stuff. Some of the really coolest stuff they've ever done. And definitely some like I think on the Early Works compilation, it has some of the most prolific serial killers that they've done songs on, like Dahmer's on there, and um,
Hey, he's hot right now.
Jim Jones is on there.
The
Yeah, dude,
Jim Jones Revival.
yeah, yeah,
YouTube
dude,
him. Fantastic band.
Jim Jones.
I'm just
Don't
telling
drink
you.
the Kool-Aid,
That's what
man.
we're
Just
here
don't
for.
just don't drink the Kool-Aid, dude. So we were going to discuss something. We were
Yeah.
talking about, we were discussing earlier today first. What were some of the first bands that we got into music wise?
Hmm. Well, really, for me, the first band that I really got into um, was thanks to you. Um, I had listened to some Charlie Daniels before, and it's like, okay, that's a cool. It was a song, but I didn't know anything else, and it was whatever. But when we were in high school, good old West High, go Cowboys. Uh, you had turned me on to Kiss, and I believe it was the Destroyer album. I
Hits them every
believe
time.
every time,
Every time.
and so I remember I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Just because I was looking at the front of the cassette, and then I turned on the music. I'm like, oh, well, this isn't what I was thinking, because I was thinking it was going to be a lot heavier, you know, because I didn't know. But those songs got so catchy with me, and 30 some odd years later, still the biggest Kiss nerd that you know. So, uh,
I knew a lot about it back in the day. Fuck.
yeah, and I took
But
up that mantle for you. Don't
you,
worry.
you picked up the mantle and fucking ran on. You know more about it than
Mm-hmm.
I do. But I would say between the two of us, there's not much that we wouldn't know musically. And so for the record, I just want to point out, it looks like if you take a look in the top of your Zoom here, our
Mm-hmm.
remaining meeting time is about 9 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So when we get down to 1 minute, I'll go ahead and say something about that. But my first would have been I listened to a lot of Journey. My dad was a big Eagles fan and stuff like that. But I always like stuff that had more of a bit of a rocking edge, and that's why I kind of like Journey over the Eagles and stuff like that. But for me, the first band that was just like I couldn't wait to see a video on MTV and shit like that. It was Quiet Riot, man. Quiet Riot fucking did
Ah,
it. And the Metal Health album is still in heavy rotation in my car. Like it's always close by. I can just listen to that album front to back every day. Now you were mentioning a
so
track
question
called
for you then.
Thunderbird, man. And
Yeah.
I want to take a look here real quick. I'm gonna take a look at my phone real quick. Um, and I may need to go back and revisit this because I don't remember it. It may not have been something that hit my radar. And
It is the last track on that album. That's probably why. You drive short distances.
I'm gonna bust you. Give me 1 second here.
While you're looking at that, what was
$4.99 on Amazon.
Ah,
That's what they think of this great classic album. It's worth $4.99. It's just it's worth $5. That's a great album, man.
I'd give you $5 for that.
I'd pay $5 for it all day long, man. It's a great album.
God
What?
rest Frankie Benali.
Okay, so Thunderbird was track 10. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, Metal Health, Come On Feel the Noise, Slick Black Cadillac. Slick Black Cadillac. That's good stuff. Love's a Bitch was the deep track for me, dude.
Mm.
We discussed this kind of earlier. Kevin DuBrow's vocal work is as good as Paul Stanley's was on I Still Love You. Amazing. Run for Cover was a great song. Let's Get Crazy. I think the before album or the after album had My Mama
We're all crazy now. Yep.
yeah, good stuff. Um, but yeah, that was pretty much my first, man.
Yep.
So I guess that brings us to the question of the week for people who are watching and staying tuned or interested. What was your first album? What was
Well,
the first band you
well,
got
wait a
in?
minute. Wait a minute. You didn't answer the other question. What was your first concert?
Oh, first concert. What was your first
Yeah.
album?
Mine was that I remember. It was the 90s were a crazy time for some of us. It was Def Leppard and Ugly Kid Joe at Cooper Stadium.
So
That was for the
hold on.
Adrenalize tour.
We're talking. Are we talking big concert or first concert whatsoever? Because I saw
For,
locals. I saw locals a lot, dude.
well, I mean, you can put that caveat in there. So I don't remember
So
seeing a local,
first local would have been was Skeet. You know who Skeet is.
Yeah.
He invited me to
What's up,
see
Ski?
a Black Sabbath tribute called the Born Again tribute, and
Ugh.
they were opening, or the opening band was a band called Alice's Jam Garden. Well, the singer pulled double duty for both bands, and
Ha, ha.
I just remember at that age, I was like 14, 15 years old. I remember looking up on stage at the Newport, and I knew right then and there, dude, that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I want to be up on stage, fucking rocking faces off, dude.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
one point, I got to do that, you know, several times at the Newport, which was a blast. But the my first real major concert was Don Dokken out on his solo album,
Yeah.
Slaughter when they had just broke with fucking Stick It In Ya, and Poison on the Unskinny Bop tour,
That was all in one bill.
all on one bill.
Holy shit. Where was that at?
Dayton Hair Arena.
Oh, God.
Yeah, dude, my fucking Aunt Peggy was climbing up my fucking. She was like a cat climbing on my dad and my fucking Uncle Ronnie's back, trying to get to the stage to get to Brett Michaels, dude.
Hey,
It was a
listen, that toupee
blast,
does a wonder.
dude. It was a blast. Like, it was, dude. I was 15 years old in the
Yep.
middle of a huge stadium, and we were literally like 15 seats away from the corner edge of the fucking right stage. So
Yeah.
we had a great show,
Lots of
man.
stuff.
Lots
Oh,
of
yeah.
stuff, dude.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but Ugly Kid Joe on that tour, the lead singer, Whitfield Crane, actually got arrested. He jumped out into the crowd and beat the shit out of some dude.
Wow.
Yeah. And quite frankly, Ugly Kid Joe blew Def Leppard out of the water.
Yeah.
I became a huge Ugly Kid Joe fan at that point.
Ugly Kid Joe was a great band. You
Mm-hmm.
know, speaking of bands around
They
that
just
age,
put
that
out an album, and it's not bad at all.
I think another band of that time that kind of gets a bad rap is Great White. At the heart of it, Great
Yeah.
White is a phenomenal blues band. They
Yeah.
write really bluesy tunes. So
Yeah.
just a heads up, we're getting down to our last 3 minutes.
Okay.
We've talked an awful lot about hair bands, but
Again, this is our first. This is what we
so
grew up with.
for the fans, we would like to know what your first is. What was your first bands or albums you got into, first concerts? Feel free to
Yeah.
ask that stuff. Um, and Bruce and I are going to
We'll
exchange
definitely
out.
read your comments on the next episode, and we want this podcast to be interactive with you.
Yep.
Because you got to be in tune with your audience. You got to give a shit, and this is something that me and Tony really want to really push home to people. Like, this is what we wanted. This is we wanted to get together.
And we want to hear from you guys what you think we should be listening to, what we should be checking out. It doesn't matter what genre it is. It doesn't matter where it comes from or what country it is. We'll check it out. It doesn't matter. We'll give it a spot. At the end of the day, we can just say it's not for us. But we want to hear. We want to hear suggestions on great stuff. Bruce, we got about a minute left.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to give you my album for next week. I want you to listen to this album. And you give me an album. My album for you is going to be all right. Dog Fashion Disco, Committed to a Bright Future.
Nice. And for you, sir,
on
your hot turntable, I want you to listen to one of the greatest live albums ever released. Willie and Family Live, double LP. That's right, folks. First edition right here. It's got classics like Whiskey River, Nightlife, Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up, the Cowboys. Fantastic album. Lots of high energy, lots of in your face. Just get it. So I'm really interested to see where we come back next week on these. And yeah.
So we'll get back to you guys. Hopefully we can get this recorded and everything's good. Till next week, Bruce, have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too, guys. See ya.